The objectives for this video are to revisit what AI is and what is possible with Gemini, and to explore NotebookLM for bilingual support. Last time, we learned how to remix with Gemini, how to edit images, and some key points about AI literacy. Remember, AI makes mistakes and reflects societal bias, and the process of guiding AI is called prompt engineering. Meet NotebookLM, Gemini's cousin. While Gemini searches the entire internet, NotebookLM only searches the sources you provide. With NotebookLM, you can chat with your documents and create overviews, slide decks, infographics, reports, and more. NotebookLM has 3 main columns. Sources allow up to 50 documents, including drive files, links, audio, and video. Chat lets you ask questions about those sources. Studio enables you to create content like audio and video overviews, flashcards, quizzes, and slide decks based on your sources. A sample scenario involves using a student's 504 plan and a lesson plan as sources. You could chat with the sources to ask how to adapt the lesson for the student's accommodations. Then, use the studio to create an infographic that explains the accommodations in parent-friendly language. Here's how to get started with NotebookLM in 3 easy steps. First, add your sources, upload your files, links, or notes to build your knowledge base. Next, head over to the chat. This is where you ask questions to instantly pull facts and insights from the sources you just added. Finally, jump into the studio to create resources like infographics, slides, videos, or audio. The next scene will show you how this works in real time.
Okay, in this video, we'll take a look at how to get started with NotebookLM. You start by going to the NotebookLM website, which is notebooklm.google.com, or you can find it in your waffle. So now that I'm here, we're going to go ahead and click on Create New, and immediately this pops up here for you to start adding your sources. You can add up to 50 sources. It can be any combination of me clicking here to upload files from my computer, clicking here to add websites, clicking here to add files from my drive, or I can copy and paste text. I can also do some research here. So let's say, for example, I am looking up information about the California missions. I can do some quick research, and it's going to then search the internet for relevant sources about the California missions, and I get to check them out before I ever add them to my notebook. So if I click View, we can take a look at each one here. It's going to give you always 10. And let's say, for example, I see a couple here that I don't really want. I can uncheck them. Now it says I have 8, and when I'm ready, I have the ones that I've checkmarked, the ones that I want. I click Import, and then we'll then add those sources, those websites, to my list here. I come back here to add sources, and if I have, let's say, something about the California missions here on in my computer, saved on my computer's hard drive, I click here, and I can pick and choose which one that I want to put on there. If I have something in my drive that's also about the California missions, there we go. I can add that one there. That's a Google Doc. Come back to add sources. If there's other websites here, I come here, I can paste the link here. Let's say I find a YouTube video about California missions. I can then find the link to this, and I can paste the link in here. That could be a source. Just gonna add that one down there. So if you ever see one here with this little notification here, it means for some reason that's a bad link or a bad upload. So in those cases, you want to hit the 3 little dots here and hit Remove Source, because you don't want to have a bad source on there. All right, so I've added a bunch of sources. Your other option here is to do copy and paste some text. So if you were to click here, you can just paste, if you have a bunch of text that you want to paste in, paste your text here, and then that pasted text becomes the source itself. So that's how you add sources. Now that we're here in the chat, I can now ask questions of the source. So let's say, for example, who founded the California missions? Again, I can only ask questions that I know can be answered by the sources. So if I know information is in there and I want to answer some questions, it will search those sources for the answer. So it'll take a minute here to think, and then you will see your answer pop up right here, and you can ask as many questions as you like. While we're waiting for that, let's go ahead and take a look at the studio. So the studio, you can create audio overviews, which are like podcasts, again, about the information here. Whichever ones are checkmarked, it will use to create anything here in the studio. So if I have these 2 here unchecked, then when it creates the audio overview, it will not include information from those sources. So when I click on the arrow right here on audio overview, it gives me different styles of podcasts to create. Deep dive is the default. We have the brief, which is about a 2-minute summary, and then we have both the critique and debate style podcast, and you can control the length and the language. And then right here, you can type in here what you would like, which information you would like it to focus on, so you can really focus what the conversation of the podcast is. Then you have here the slide deck. So slide deck will create whole slide presentations about your information. Click the little arrow right here. You can do a detailed slide deck or some basic presenter slides, which aren't as as detailed. Choose your language. You want it to be short or the default, usually somewhere between 10 to 12 slides. That's up to you. And then you type in here what information you would like the slides to focus on. The video overview is just like the audio overview, except it's a video output. Click on the little arrow here, and these are your 3 options. The cinematic looks like an actual movie production almost. Very nice. Takes about probably 10 to 15 minutes to create the cinematic. Explainers take about 10 minutes. They're pretty general. And then you have the brief ones here, which is like about 2-minute summary. Takes you about 5 minutes to create the brief. And again, you click in here to determine which information from your sources you would like included in your video. You can create a mind map. This actually does not take very long. Create it right here, and anything you create here with the studio will show up in a list, with the most recent one here being at the top. So this is what a mind map looks like. So we have this really to show the organizational structure of your sources here. And if I were to click on, let's say, this topic here, it will then explain it here in the chat. So it's another way for you to really understand and get information from your sources. We'll come back here to Studio. You can create reports and flashcards, quizzes. You can even make infographics, which is like a slide deck, but instead of being a whole slide presentation, the infographics are one-pagers. So if we click on the little arrow here, you can see all the different styles that you can create your one-pager in. Make them landscape, portrait, or square. And it will then can be downloaded as an image, and how detailed you would like it to be. And then click in here to explain which information from your sources you want it to focus on. So this in a nutshell is how you can get started with all the different features of NotebookLM. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out at any time.